everybody. Okay, so welcome to the next video in our gut health coaching series. This time we are going to talk about the next part of the digestive system, which is the stomach. Before I get too far into that though, I'm going to have to do like I always do, and I'm going to start with my disclaimer. So, okay, in this video I do not claim that any strategy, plan, or product can cure, prevent, or heal any disease or illness. This video should not replace a medical consultation or medical care. It is advised that you seek the advice of your medical doctor before adjusting or changing or beginning any new health care plan or taking any new supplements. None of the products that I discuss in this video have been approved by the FDA. Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk today about the stomach. We're going to kind of go through the digestive system in each of these videos from top to bottom. So stomach issues. I'm going to talk today about the two most common. There are several different kinds of stomach issues, but I'm going to talk about the two most common, because they kind of affect the most people, and they kind of can branch out and cause other stomach issues. The first most common one would be gastritis. Okay, gastritis is when you feel like a upper pain in your upper abdominal. You get nauseous, vomiting sometimes, burping, bloating, all that fun stuff. It's basically when the gastric mucosa lining of the stomach is inflamed, either very, very inflamed or even damaged sometimes. And what happens is, with the erosion of the stomach lining, it can lead to acid burning that and causing pain, and then you have malabsorption of nutrients, and it creates this whole other host of things. It can also cause stomach ulcers and all sorts of things. The other one I'm going to talk about is GERD, and that is gastroesophageal reflux disease, and that's basically when stomach acid washes back up into the esophagus and sometimes even into the throat, and it causes that burning and pressure. So those are the two that I'm going to talk about today in today's video. If there's something else that you have that I'm not touching on, please feel free to message me, and we can talk about it. But these are the most common, so this is kind of where I wanted to start. So, okay, first, gastritis. So gastritis, the two main causes of gastritis, okay, are one, a bacterial infection, a bacteria known as H. pylori. Okay, this can be transmitted from saliva from affected people, but also food, water, utensils, that sort of thing. And it's a bacteria that actually comes from fecal matter. So it comes from lack of hand washing and unsanitary conditions, and in places where there's not clean drinking water, that sort of thing. But studies have been reporting that it's possible that 60% of the world's population is infected with H. pylori. So this is very common, unfortunately. The other cause of gastritis, the main cause of gastritis, would be taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, things like aspirin, ibuprofen, naproxen, things that are pain reducers, anti-inflammatories, fever reducers, that sort of thing. These are very damaging to the stomach lining. Now, I know that they help a lot of people with pain or fevers or whatever, and that immediate fix is seemingly beneficial. However, the long-term damage that's being done is, I don't know that it outweighs, I don't know the benefits outweigh that. So it's really important to take into consideration that, because these are so commonly used, these over-the-counter things. Some other causes would be alcohol, bile reflux, which is kind of when it backs up from the liver into the stomach. It can damage the lining of the stomach. And a diet high in very sugary foods, as well as chronic stress that is ongoing and continuous. This too can damage the stomach lining. The conventional treatment for gastritis is 2 or more rounds of antibiotics. And then they work in acid reducers, proton pump inhibitors, histamine blocking meds, these types of things. The problems with this is, first of all, the antibiotics. The antibiotics do not differentiate between good bacteria and bad bacteria. So they go in and they wipe out everything, okay? The problem here is that H. pylori is a lot of times very antibiotic resistant, and it's very hard to get rid of. So what you're doing when you take all these antibiotics is you're wiping out all the good bacteria whose job it is to fight this H. pylori. And then you're not really, guaranteed to wipe out the H. pylori with the antibiotic. That's why they give you a couple different kinds. They'll give you a couple different kinds of antibiotics at once, and then they'll repeat the dose because it is so hard to get, I guess. So the danger there is you're killing off what's beneficial without any real guarantee of getting rid of what's harmful. So that's the traditional, conventional way to usually attack gastritis. For this reason, it is so very important when doing this, to take probiotics that can withstand stomach acid. I'm going to talk a little bit more about those later on in this video because it's also relevant to the next topic, which is GERD. But the other thing that helps with gastritis is green tea. Now, natural, no sugar green tea, not the stuff you're going to buy at the gas station, but natural green tea brewed. They show that the compounds in green tea are very effective in combating H. pylori. It's also essential oils. So they did these studies, and they found that there are 13 essential oils that completely inhibited the growth of H. pylori, which is huge. One of them is lemongrass, and another one that was effective is oregano. Now, you can take that in a pill form. You can put a couple drops in a capsule and swallow it, or a drop or two in water, very diluted, and then drink it. Now, it's important to note, though, when we're talking about essential oils, not all essential oils are created equal, and this is very, very important. Do not ingest essential oils that you are not 100% certain are pure, therapeutic, certified organic essential oils, because essential oils, they're like the plants. I mean, you could be ingesting very harmful chemicals, pesticides, in very strong concentrated quantities. So this could make your problems worse. It could exacerbate things, and so it's very important to make sure you know what you're taking. If you need help with that, please let me know and I can point you in the right direction, but that's very, very crucial, especially when ingesting them. It's one thing even to take topically essential oils and rub them topically, or even to diffuse, but when we're talking about ingesting, it's even more so important. The other things that's very beneficial when we're talking about combating H. pylori is coconut oil. So coconut oil has lauric acid in it. Okay, lauric acid, it kills bacteria and funguses, and it actually has the ability to destroy the cell wall, to break to the cell wall and then destroy the fungus or the bacteria. So this is very important too. Try to work some more coconut oil into your diet. The gastritis diet plan. So things that you want to be mindful of when you're eating and you have gastritis. First of all, you want to eliminate all irritants, okay? Anything that's going to irritate it. First, dairy, citrus, like tomatoes, oranges, that type of thing. Teas, like black teas, not green tea. Like I said, green tea is very effective with it, but black teas. Spicy and processed foods, alcohol and caffeine too. They are very irritable when it comes to gastritis, so it's important to kind of watch that. And then once you eliminate the triggers and the bad things, you want to work in good foods, good things that are high in fiber and high in vitamin C. Things like red peppers, green peppers, kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, those sorts of things. They're very high in vitamin C, so they're very good for the stomach lining and fighting gastritis. Also, you're going to look for foods that are high in magnesium, dark leafy greens, nuts and seeds, fish, beans, avocados, that type of stuff. And things with vitamin B12, like shellfish, crab, red meat, eggs, dairy, like raw uncultured dairy if possible. Because especially when we're talking about, vitamin B12 and vitamin C and magnesium, if the stomach lining is damaged and you're not absorbing those nutrients, you're going to be deficient in those too. So it's very important to try and work those in for that reason as well. The basic rule of thumb when eating with gastritis is get rid of all processed stuff. Anything that's boxed and packaged, try and do as little of that as possible. Replace it with organic options, organic veggies, fruits, raw options, so that you have those enzymes that are present in the raw foods. No sugary drinks. I would just stick with water. Rule of thumb is you should be drinking half your body weight in ounces of water a day, up to 100 ounces, I think is good. This is to make sure your cells are not dehydrated and to keep all the body systems running as they can. But it's also very important when we're talking about acid and stomach acid to keep things going. Eat several small meals a day instead of maybe 1 or 2 big meals, because this is going to alleviate some of that pressure on the stomach. Do not skip breakfast. Keep eating throughout the day. Get that stomach used to the food coming through and retrain the acid, and do not skip breakfast. And no over-the-counter meds. I would try, if at all possible, to get rid of those as quickly as you can, because they are damaging. They're damaging to the stomach lining. The next thing then is GERD. Okay, so gastroesophageal reflux disease. This is when the acid from the stomach backs up into the esophagus, into the throat, like I said. It causes that burning, that pressure, that pain. Conventional treatment. Okay, so conventional treatment. This often includes taking what's called proton pump inhibitors, the prescription medications. And these are like Prilosec, Nexium, Prevacid, those types of things, Protonix. There's a million out there. The theory with these is, that your heartburn or your reflux is caused by too much acid, they say. So, in theory, if you inhibit the proton potassium pump in the stomach cells, then you're going to reduce the acidity of the stomach and prevent the reflux. Okay, so that's the theory. The problem with this is the proton pumps are not limited to just the stomach, okay? They are in every cell in the body. So inhibiting them will inhibit the body's energy production, and it leads to fatigue, among a whole host of other things. So these proton pump inhibitors, they reduce stomach acid, the acid in the stomach, which seems like a good thing, but in reality it's reducing the acid, the acidity in the intestinal tract too. So it kind of changes the pH then of the gut, which is not a good thing, okay? Because what happens then is it creates this breeding ground for bad bacteria, things like E. coli and staph. So it's a very dangerous situation then what we have. Proton pump inhibitors also, since they reduce the stomach acid, you're reducing the absorption of certain nutrients that depend on acid for that absorption. Things like vitamin B12, C, calcium, iron, magnesium. So then here we have possible vitamin and nutrient deficiencies, which alone in themselves can cause a lot of issues in the body. Proton pump inhibitors, they can damage the cells. They increase the cardiovascular cells, so they increase the chance of cardiovascular events. They can harm the kidneys. It's even been found that they increase dementia risk. So they might provide temporary relief at some point, but there are great risks involved when taking them. So, you know, it's not really, in my opinion, the answer is not really to inhibit acid production, because, you know, that's not the problem. Acid's not the problem. Acid is a good thing. It's very beneficial and very necessary in the body. And actually, there's studies that are saying now that GERD is not really from too much acid, that it actually is caused by having too little stomach acid. So you're maybe wondering, well, how can that be? You know, it's coming up. And well, studies are showing that a bacterial overgrowth, okay, you know, this results in abdominal pressure, and that actually will drive the reflux and drive the acid, that pressure. And so it's not really necessarily a dysfunction in the lower esophageal valve initially, like they say. However, that acid coming up from that pressure, from that bacterial overgrowth, can eventually erode that valve to where then it's making it worse and making it worse. But the initial root cause isn't a dysfunctional valve so much as bacterial overgrowth, pressure, pushing, burning, eroding. So there's a lot more going on, they're finding, than what's been originally said in conventional treatments. The things that contribute to low stomach acid then. So if it is caused by low stomach acid and not high stomach acid, what contributes to low stomach acid? Now, things like food intolerances, medications, infections, toxins, the number of toxins that we eat in the processed food, that we drink in water, that we lather all over our bodies and breathe in. Chronic stress is another one. So these are things that can cause low stomach acid. And, you know, one of the stomach acid's many roles is to keep bacteria levels regulated. So, you know, low stomach acid can contribute to that bacterial overgrowth, and the bacterial overgrowth then contributes to the pressure, which contributes to the reflux. So it creates this huge vicious cycle. So what do? You know, what to do. First, the most important thing that everybody will agree on, conventional or otherwise, is to get rid of processed food. Processed food has been shown, proven, studies to be a major trigger with GERD. The other thing is to eat small meals throughout the day, many small meals instead of the large meals. And because it's believed to be a bacterial overgrowth, okay, it's absolutely crucial. I cannot stress this enough. It is absolutely crucial to take probiotics and prebiotics. Now, I'm going to talk about the ones that I recommend, and this is relevant to gastritis too. I said I was going to come back to this and talk about it later. I recommend, with both of these, I recommend the Plexus Triplex, okay, which is the Plexus Slim Pink Drink, the Plexus ProBio 5, a probiotic, and the Plexus BioCleanse, which is a magnesium supplement and a detoxing supplement. If I also encourage you to consider the Vital Biome. That's an additional probiotic with additional strains, working that in. So those four are the main. I'm going to go through the three that are in the triplex now because they are essential, absolutely essential, when we're talking about damage done from these two things. So the first one is the Slim. And the Slim, you know, it's named Slim because it helps with weight loss, but it actually does a whole host of other things as well. It does so much more. So the Slim has these prebiotics in it that are called XOS. They're actually patented. Plexus patented them. They're amazing. They're outstanding. But with these prebiotics, in vitro studies have shown that it can increase a good bacteria that produces lactic acid by 290 times. So why is lactic acid important? Well, lactic acid helps keep the pH of the gut at healthy levels. So this is very, very important. And it's super important, especially when talking about GERD and gastritis, that are caused by both either an bacterial overgrowth or the H. pylori. Slim also increases lactobacillus by 365 times. 365 times. Okay, so what is lactobacillus? What's it do? This actually fights against pathogens, but it also increases immune response. So again, super important when we're talking about fighting these harmful things. Slim also increases Akkermansia by 250 times. Now, Akkermansia, I've said a couple different times in other videos and on my group page, it's the weight loss metabolism bacteria, the beneficial bacteria. But it's also super important when it comes to inflammation. And this is huge for gastritis and GERD sufferers, because that inflammation is what's causing a lot of the pain. Slim also increases butyrate by up to 58%. So what is butyrate? It's a short chain fatty acid that encourages the immune system to make these very specialized cells whose basic job it is to reduce inflammation. So again, you have the Akkermansia and you have the butyrate working on this inflammation. It's very, very important. Now the Plexus Triplex, 3 products, okay? That's the Slim. That's why the Slim will help you with these conditions. The next product is the Probio 5. That's what I want to talk to you about next. This is a very powerful probiotic with 5 different strains in it, but it also has an enzyme in it, okay, that is designed to break the outer layer, the outer shell of harmful funguses and yeasts and things like that, so that the inner part of the organism is exposed and can be killed. So it's not really enough to take a probiotic without an antifungal or an enzyme in it to break that shell, because that's a protective shell that the organism has on it, kind of like a cockroach shell. And so if you're not taking something that can penetrate that, you're just trying to crowd them out. You're not killing that pathogen. You're just trying to crowd them out. You have to actively be targeting the bad guys in the gut, so that with the good guys. Probio 5 is also microencapsulated. What this means is that it can withstand stomach acid, and it's not going to break down and be harmed before it reaches its intended destination. So that's very, very huge. A lot of these probiotics that you get off store shelves or that need to be refrigerated in these things, most of the time, most of it dies before it ever reaches where it needs to be because of the traveling through the digestive system. It also has grapeseed extract in it. Grapeseed extract is one of the most powerful antioxidants out there. It's super effective in fighting free radicals. It's 20 times more powerful than vitamin C, 50 times more powerful than vitamin E. It's the bomb. So Probio 5 has grapeseed extract in it as well. And that also, grapeseed extract is very anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral. So it's very important when we're talking about these things with H. pylori and bacterial overgrowth. The other product that's part of the triplex is called the Plexus BioCleanse. Like I said, this is a magnesium supplement, a very, very good form of magnesium, but it's and it also has different things in it, more vitamin C, and it has a bioflavonoid complex in it. It oxygenates the blood. It does all kinds of things. But for this reason here, what we're talking about, gastritis and GERD, the reason why I recommend it so strongly with the other two is because if you're taking Probio 5 to kill off some of these harmful bacteria and stuff, you really want to make sure that you are cleansing that and detoxing it, because when you kill these things, they're living organisms, and they will create in your body, when they die, they will create toxic byproducts, okay, as they're being killed. So if you think of it in terms of like cleaning your toilet bowl, okay, you scrub your toilet bowl. That's like Probio 5. It's doing its thing. It's getting all the gunk out. But it really doesn't do you any good if you don't flush, okay? All that gunk is still sitting in the bowl, and it's still going to be dirty. It's still going to be causing problems. So basically the Probio 5 And actually, the ProBio 5 and the Slim, they're scrubbing. Okay, they're scrubbing, and then you need that BioCleanse then to flush, to get it all out. The BioCleanse not only will pull all that stuff from the intestinal tract, from the colon, it actually pulls it too from the blood and from tissue and that sort of thing. So it is a full-on cleanse. Now, that being said, don't be scared, like I'm saying full-on cleanse, like you're thinking the night before colonoscopy, and that's not how it is. This is a very gentle cleanse. It's designed to be a daily cleanse, so over the course of time, you ease into it, and it's gentle, okay, I promise you. And I will give you a dosing schedule. If you decide to go in this route, I'll give you a dosing schedule so we make sure that you don't have that bad experience. You ease into it, so don't fear that. But irregardless, even the magnesium is very crucial and very important when we're talking about things that can help heal both gastritis and or alleviate gastritis symptoms and GERD symptoms. So then we want to talk about the GERD-friendly diet. Okay, the things that you're going to want to add into your diet that are going to help. So again, coconut oil, like I said, because of the lauric acid in it, and it's very anti-inflammatory. Green leafy veggies, pumpkin and squash, those are very good when we're talking about GERD. Wild caught tuna and salmon, you really want to make sure you're getting those omega-3s, as many omega-3s as you can. Those fatty acids are very anti-inflammatory, and they're going to be healing for this type of situation. Almonds and then other healthy fats, like I just said. Raw honey. Raw honey has a very, it has healthy bacteria in it. Raw honey, not filtered, processed honey, raw honey. But you're going to want to be careful, especially if you have a bacterial overgrowth and you suspect candida. You're really going to want to be very careful with this because of the sugar content. Because a lot of bacteria will feed off of sugar and it causes them to grow and multiply. So you kind of want to tiptoe around that one and weigh the pros and cons. You're going to want to avoid things like alcohol, caffeine, carbonated beverages, artificial sugars or sweeteners, fried foods, and vegetable oils. These are highly inflammatory, and I will talk a lot more about these in a later video. Stay away from them though. Dairy can be an irritant, a trigger food. Spicy foods, like I said before, tomatoes, citrus, things like oranges, grapefruits. Salad dressing, processed salad dressings that you get in the bottle on the store shelves, they have so many things in it that are highly irritants to the stomach and to GERD. Mint can sometimes cause problems when we're talking about GERD. It's very cooling for some things, but in this case, a lot of times it causes problems and can be a trigger. And processed grains. Processed grains are highly inflammatory and cause a lot of issues. Gluten in general is very inflammatory and hard on the body. So getting rid of acid reflux or GERD it's a multi-pronged approach, and it's going to require avoiding the bad, eating the good, and likely supplementing. And just doing one of those things is probably not going to get the job done, because this is such, if you have worn away part of the valve, or if it's gone on for a long period of time, this is something that's going to really, is going to be need to address on all fronts, I guess is what I want to say. So I would encourage you to consider everything that I've talked about in this video. I'm going to stop there though, because that's the stomach. We're going to get into the next system next time tomorrow in regards to the small intestine. Actually, I'm probably going to spend a couple of days on that because it's so involved and so important. And there's so many different issues that can arise in the small intestine. But so let me give you your challenge. Okay, so if you are a sufferer with gastritis or GERD, or if you have any stomach uncomfortability at all, I want you to sit down and make a list of some of the trigger foods that I mentioned in this video, and think of replacements or just get rid of them altogether. And I also want to encourage you, if you're having problems with this, try to keep a food journal. I mean, this can be very, very eye-opening in a lot of ways, to keep a food journal and say, okay, well, every time I eat this, 36 hours later, I've got this, or an hour later, depending on the food. Some foods are digested slowly, they have delayed reactions, but you're going to start to see patterns when you start writing things down in a food journal, and it can be very, very eye-opening. So I want to encourage you to do that. And lastly, again, comment below with any takeaways, things you liked, things you learned, things about your challenge, whatever, because the people that participate the most in these videos are going to be entered into a drawing, a free giveaway, the mystery giveaway. I'm going to hold out and not tell you what it is, but I'm going to tell you that you will want it. So it is going to be a good thing. So that's all I have for now. Stay tuned, and we will meet up again tomorrow with the next session. All right, I'll talk to you later, everybody. Bye.